We have all been scammed in one way or another. Maybe you fell for the smooth-talking conman and burned your money on crypto or stocks. Maybe you destroyed your relationship because you took advice from a bunch of pimps. Maybe you're a tech expert who promoted a tool that robbed a big chunk of your revenue. What happens is that you feel dumb for a while, but then you forget about it and just move on. However, this is not the case with many victims of scamming or abusive relationships, which by the way go through the same process. They are so entangled by psychological chains that it takes a long time to break them, if they ever do. So in this video, we're going to expose these invisible chains because once you understand how they work, every scam becomes obvious. Finding the perfect target. As we said, everyone can be scammed. If you haven't, you either aren't aware that it happened or you haven't met the right person. However, there are two groups of people that are the most vulnerable to being conned. The first group is people who have been beaten badly by life and have lost hope in the conventional way of doing things. For example, people who have worked for many years and are still struggling financially are more likely to fall for the get-rich-quick schemes. Or, people who didn't find the cure at the hospital are more likely to fall for fake doctors and religious hustlers. The second group is people who are also struggling but haven't lost hope, at least not yet. For whatever reason, poor decisions, bad luck, they have failed repeatedly to achieve their goals, but despite all of that, they keep going. They are convinced that they are just one step away from hitting the jackpot. Now the scammer will quickly figure out which group you belong to and craft a compelling story. Of course, the details of the story differ depending on the situation, but the core message is this: I completely understand what you're going through, and lucky for you, I have the exact solution you're looking for. It doesn't matter how wild and unbelievable his idea is. As long as he looks the part and never breaks character, then those people will buy into it. They have to. They desperately want it to be true. I know it can be difficult to wrap your head around it, but at that point, it doesn't matter whether they have a fancy degree or are the most skeptical person on earth. They will trust anything he says. To make matters worse, the scammer will exploit a powerful bias called sunk cost fallacy. This is when you think, I have already invested too much to quit. The more time, money and effort you put into something, the harder it becomes to abandon it. Even when it is patently evident that it's not working and is only making you miserable. That's why scammers always start by asking for a tiny payment, a little favor, or a small emotional commitment. Meanwhile, you're spending more and more time with the scammer. He's building rapport with you and is constantly telling you lies, which reinforces the illusion that you are on the path to a massive reward. So basically, what he has done so far is that he has grabbed your attention and convinced you to have a simple conversation, or he has convinced you to consume his content. Nothing harmful, right? Well, the problem is that the more you talk to him or watch his videos, the more he establishes trust and credibility. Because every element of the narrative is designed to hit your major pain points and make you visualize and accept his solution. It's just a matter of time till your mental defenses will go down. That's when you can't help but think that he's a real deal. Plus, you will always be like, all he's asking is for a minor commitment, right? However, you will continue to make many more minor commitments, and by the time you start noticing the red flags, you are way too deep in the scam to end it. Quitting means surrendering to the reality that all of these previous efforts were in vain, which is a painful reality to accept. So you will continue investing on the scheme both financially and emotionally. But wait, it gets worse. The more time passes, the more you increase the cognitive dissonance. In the beginning, you are on an emotional high. You fully believe the story. But no matter how well crafted the story is, at the end of the day, it's a lie. So you start having doubts. You notice inconsistencies in what they say. People are constantly telling you that this is a scam or that this person is toxic. You might even come across testimonials from past victims. Now you would think that the mounting evidence would convince you to walk away, but this is where cognitive dissonance comes into play. And if you don't pay attention, you will sink deeper into the abyss. Here's how it works. When you hold the two conflicting beliefs, you feel very uncomfortable, and you will try to alleviate the discomfort. So you must determine which belief is true. On one hand, you have the belief that this is a scam and the ever-increasing evidence that supports it. On the other hand, you have an older belief that you have finally found the solution to your biggest problem in life. Plus, you have the belief that you're too smart to be manipulated. You're like, if this was really a scam, I would have noticed it a mile away. Unfortunately, you are more likely to choose the second option. So you will treat those pieces of evidence as nonsense and actively try to convince yourself that the story is in fact true. One of the most powerful tools that can nudge you to choose to believe the lie is social reinforcement. Let's say you have fallen for an online scam. Maybe you're taking trading advice from another beginner. Maybe you spent thousands of dollars on a course that was 90% fluff. You find the advice empty and you can't seem to get any result, so you feel compelled to ask for a refund or destroy their reputation on social media. But then you see all of those positive comments on the platform or the private group and you start to think, maybe it's my fault. What you don't know is that it's all fake. You know everything can be fabricated. Comments, reviews, screenshots, video, testimonials, everything. So instead of trusting your instincts, you explain away your doubts and keep burning your money by trading even more or buying the upsells. It's even worse in face-to-face scams. You're surrounded by people who are already committed to the scam, or they have a financial incentive to trick you, and they are constantly reassuring you that everything is fine. They will say things like, "This absolutely works, look at my results. If you quit now, you will regret it forever." Keep going and you will prove all of them wrong. What ends up happening after seeing this overwhelming social proof is that you will rewrite your reality to accommodate the false narrative. In other words, the scammer or the abuser doesn't have to keep convincing you. You'll do it yourself. Once he has full control over the narrative, the next step is to silence all the outside voices that might pull you back to reality. He will initiate the slow and devastating process of gaslighting. Whenever you express an opinion or doubts about the scheme, or when you call them out on their toxic behavior, he will forcibly shut you down. He will say things like, "You're overthinking this. Why do you always have to focus on the negative? Stop being paranoid." Every debate ends with you feeling upset, dumb and guilty, even though you have done nothing but to please them. Eventually, you become scared of expressing yourself freely and stop questioning them altogether. What's worse is that when other people call him out, you will defend his behavior. So you are entirely psychologically isolated from the outside world and basically live to serve their needs. Sometimes you think about breaking it off, but you have spent so much effort into this scheme or relationship, and if you break it off, you would essentially accept that you have been tricked. In other words, you must decide which is the most painful: staying into this toxic relationship, or accepting the fact that all of your effort, all of your suffering has been for nothing. Thank you for watching. If you want to understand the people on a deeper level, check out my advanced course, How to Gain Confidence and Power in the Social World.